Good Thursday evening, everyone. Here to talk about what happened to Jesus during Holy Week again. So Thursday for them was Passover. We celebrated Passover last night, but for them, Passover is today. So this morning, the disciples came to Jesus and they asked him where he wanted to celebrate the Passover. And of course, he sent them to a man in Jerusalem who prepared an upper room, and that's where they celebrated the Passover. And so they would be in the middle of that, or just kind of getting started with it, because it happened at dusk, and would be in the middle of that festivity. And for those of you that had an opportunity to enjoy a Passover, it's meant to be a time of great fellowship and remembrance and just joy. And it'll take 3 or 4 hours for them to go through the Passover meal. And so this is what Jesus is doing. And as he is sharing the Passover meal with them, he's preparing them for what's going to happen in the upcoming day with his crucifixion. And there were several conversations, and he tries to encourage them, and he talks to them about the Holy Spirit. He talks to Peter about his denial. Several things go on in that. But one of the most, I guess, outstanding items is when he washes their feet. And he tells them, when he gets to Peter, Peter says, "You're not going to wash my feet." And he tells him, he says, "If I don't wash you, you don't have any part with me." And this is very important, because if you think about it, right? If you do not allow Jesus to wash you, you're not cleansed by him, you don't have any part with him. And so after they finish the Passover, and after Judas goes off to betray Jesus, they end with a song, as is the custom of Passover, to sing the hymns, and then they go off to the Garden of Gethsemane. And there Jesus takes and prays with his disciples, and then Judas, the betrayer, and the guards from the priests come and arrest Jesus, and Peter tries to stop him, right? But Jesus even tells Pilate later on, that if I was of this world, then my servants would be trying to keep me from being killed, but I'm not of this world. And so this is happening not because of your authority that you have over me, but because the authority that my Father has, and even what he has given you. And Pilate marveled at this. And so during the night, you have these mock trials where first they show up at Ananias' house. Ananias was the chief priest. He was displaced. His son-in-law, Caiaphas, became the high priest. And so he goes to Ananias' house first, and then to Caiaphas' house, and he's tried basically in those two, and then they finally turn him over to Pilate. Pilate, of course, then has him scourged in the middle of the night or in the morning, to try to appease him. And this goes on. So as we go into Thursday and we think about Thursday, what is it that we want to take away? One, the great fellowship that we have with Christ. The Passover time reminds us of just how much he loves us and how much fellowship we have with him. Two, to remember that if we're not washed by him, then we have no part with him. Three, that he called us to be servants just as he served. And that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to become more like Christ, and we do that through the power of the Holy Spirit, and he promises that that's coming. And so just remember these things as you go through the night, and we'll have more tomorrow. Tomorrow is a really hard day indeed, and we'll talk about that more. So for now, I love you, be safe, and have a wonderful night.